Game Pass is damaging and unsustainable, says Dishonoured dev. Well, step into my chamber, sir. You know, there's still a few of us ex-bots out there where, like, the old, the last surviving soldiers on the battlefield are all worn, beaten and battered, but we're still out there. Of course, I do jest. I'm an Xbox fan. That love has significantly diminished with the fact that there's no fucking Xbox anymore. But outside of that, I am still an Xbox fan, and I still feel that I can give some kind of perspective on news that is happening. So, Dishonoured and Prey developer, I'll put his name up there because I don't want to butcher it. He recently said that he feels Game Pass is an unsustainable model that's been increasing. This is a quote. Game Pass is an unsustainable model that's been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade, subsidized by Microsoft's infinite money. So this has sparked much debate. It has caused the crusty old Xbots still around like myself to rise from your grave like Altered Beast and drop a perspective. I disagree. What? You nuts, innit? I disagree. But I'll get to why. So, there's many reasons for the positives of Game Pass. Wait, they're not quite reflected currently, are they? With Microsoft shutting down studios left, right, and bloody centre. But there are many, like, for example, it's good for smaller development teams, as it takes the risk away from them with regards to upfront payments. It is very good for gamers. If we're not all in this industry watching companies' pockets and whatnot, if you're just a gamer, Game Pass is very good because it's great bloody value. You cannot deny it. And often I would say bad actors highlight their dislike of Game Pass when really it's more their dislike of Xbox or Microsoft, because Game Pass in itself, if you're a gamer, is bloody fantastic. If you think about it, I'm just talking about from a gaming perspective. You're getting Doom day one within Game Pass. You're getting Elder Scrolls, the new Elder Scrolls game day one within Game Pass. You're getting Gears of War, the new Gears of War in Game Pass. You're getting all the Bethesda games that are coming out. Starfield within Game Pass. Okay, that's probably not a good example, but do you know what I mean? All those studios, all these first-party games, and Microsoft now has a Call of Duty. Microsoft now has a fat first-party lineup. Well, not really, because obviously you understand what a fat publisher lineup, then Game Pass is good value. So from a gamer perspective, it's great. Now, the arguments for, is it gutting the industry, so to speak? But also, this developer don't forget, he hasn't specifically worked on a game that shipped on Game Pass itself. You have to bear that in mind. So his opinion might not hold as much weight as you initially think it does, but it's still interesting from a developer's perspective. So even though I'm saying all of that about how good Game Pass is for gamers, you can't deny it. Game Pass as a model isn't having the success Xbox would wish for. I mean, no numbers are revealed, but look what's happening with studios being shut down. So regardless of how they may tout the benefits of Game Pass, it's clearly not having the financial... It's not netting them the financial gain that they would perhaps wish for. However, the reason I disagree with the overall sentiment is because without Game Pass, there's no competition at all in any aspect for PlayStation. Now, obviously, many of my PlayStation brethren will indeed right now say there isn't any competition anyway, you fat... Which is fine. But on a serious note, if there's no Game Pass, think about it. There is no competition at all for PlayStation. Even then, the competition would be weak because there's no exclusive. But that's literally all that would distinguish, or that currently distinguishes, Xbox from PlayStation in a consumer's mind, really, if they're doing their research. I'll give you an example of what I mean. So PlayStation has their very, very elite, premium, AAA exclusives, right? Your Last of Us, your God of War. You know the ones. Xbox doesn't have that anymore because exclusives are gone. So they don't have that to fight back with. The power argument is negligible between both consoles. So the only thing that Xbox can offer is Game Pass. So those who would like to see Game Pass, or those who hate on Game Pass, once that's gone, you've effectively got no competition at all. And surely you want competition. Surely you want that? Because it encourages, as I said in my previous video, it encourages these companies to fight for your money if there's competition. There's no competition. PlayStation is just coasting, sitting back, chilling. And the only competition is Game Pass. Reason being is, you get those first-party titles day one, all of Bethesda's, all your id Software stuff. You get it day one, right? You don't get that on PlayStation. So that is the distinguishing factor. That is why Game Pass should exist in some form. It's the only barrier, or it's the only distinct line to create competition between the two of them. Without Game Pass, there is nothing for Xbox at all. And I'm saying that as an Xbox guy who plays primarily on Xbox. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I get what the developer is going on about. I understand it. I respect his opinion. But Game Pass has to exist for some kind of competition. Now, the new Xbox coming up, that might have Steam on it, that might have other trinkets to try and foster some kind of competitive atmosphere between PlayStation and Xbox. But without Game Pass, you got nothing. And it's a really difficult argument as it is for Xbox. So don't be so quick to want to get rid of Game Pass. If you do that, all that tells me is you don't want competition at all. And if you don't want competition, that makes you a fanboy. If you enjoyed the content, click the like button, share it, subscribe if you are new. I'm just an old guy out here talking about games, innit? Give us a like, innit? Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to go. Nurse my meds. Be easy, behave yourself. See you later.